what OPERACY does is to help you to have the right perception. When the Lord Buddha gave us the Eightfold Path, number one is the right perception. Because the right perception, if you have the wrong perception, your action will be wrong, your speech will be wrong, your livelihood will be wrong. But if you have the right perception, then you can talk properly, communicate nicely. You can, your action will be correct, your livelihood will be correct, right? When you do that, then you become a successful person and a happy person. So, one thing that OPERACY does is to help us to understand life, to have the right perception. Like the 5 principles I was talking about, that's how we see life, you know. So if we don't self-regulate ourselves, if we do corruption, if we're cheating, then we will fail. Because this is natural law, not human law. Human law, like taxation law, you can not pay tax, still be successful, but not natural law. If you jump from a 10-story building, you die. It doesn't matter who you are, because that's the law of gravity, the law of nature. The same with these 5 principles. Right? If you obey all, you cannot fail. If you disobey even one of them or 2 of them, like Pol Pot, he wanted to develop Cambodia, right? Principle number 1 change, but he failed number 2. He make everybody farmers. He failed number 3. How can you have people work together, you know, in harmony when you're afraid of each other? Self-regulation, never stop killing people. And number 5, which is important, expansion is to become more, right? How can you become more when you kill 1.7 million people? It become less. So he failed. So this is how we help people to see the life properly, right? And then when we see the life properly, then our action will be correct and our result will be correct. So that is how I see, our role. Number 1 is help people to see the situation correctly.
Now, come to Cambodian conference. You are living in Cambodia for 26 years, and you have created program to teach many Cambodian people, especially youth and also the senior people. What is the OPERACY means to Cambodian education?
Well, let me go back a little bit, because when I came here in 1996, many of the people that I know, now become senior member of the government and UNDP and World Bank, they were young colleagues of mine, and many of them have lost their parents during the Pol Pot regime. So they're always looking for guidance, with other parents. They're looking for guidance. And one thing I love about working in Cambodia is that young people, even now, are so hungry for knowledge. They love to learn, right? And that's why I love to be here, because everybody wants to be successful, right? So by being here, I'm successful as a trainer because people want to learn. So now going back to education in Cambodia, right now Cambodia is progressing quite well, and but the challenge in Cambodia education is no different than the challenge in education everywhere else now, almost the same. For me, one of the biggest challenges in education now is that as technology become more and more prominent, most of our lessons in school are focused on more technical, like to develop our IQ. And sometimes we neglect the EQ, the emotional part. So, but as population increasing, resources become less and less, and climate is start to change, there is a need for us to be able to respond, Leaders of the future must be able to respond to these challenges. And at the moment, I don't believe we're dealing with that enough. So, OPERACY teach us 3 things. Is to have a social skill, like to deal with other people, emotional skill to deal with ourselves, our challenges, and then ecological skill to deal with the challenges of the earth. So this is all about relationship with ourselves internally, relationship with other people, our colleagues, our staff, our community, and then we also have to have developed strong relationship with the earth. That's the only way we can be sustainable as human on this earth, and that's the biggest challenge, and that is my primary concern. And many people start to realize this, and they actually articulate it. Oh, we have to have emotional skill, we have to have a soft skill, but unfortunately, intention is not enough. We have to have practice, and to practice, we have to know how to do it. And so, I'm glad that OPERACY actually have somehow contribute to this. Many young people tell us, "You have changed my life. You have made me a better person. You have made me a better father and mother, and so on." So that makes me happy. Yes.
So you're saying OPERACY help to change people the way they think, the way they behave, so that they can absorb the new environments like technologies and the scarcities of the world right now. But in terms of doing business, how would that practical into running a business nowadays?
You can see life is like a tree, right? And the bottom you have the root, and then you have one single trunk. And from the trunk there are many branches, and from the branches there are the fruit, right? So when we're talking about business, profit, product, that are the fruit, right? And the good fruit cannot appear unless there is a good root underneath. Like the Cambodian proverb said, to plant trees, take care of the root. To develop people, nurture their character, right? The character is the root. So OPERACY help us to develop strong roots, right? So in the organization, for example, big company, small company, the same, is the character of the people that work there, including the manager, including the finance officer, the HR officer. If they have a good character, then they can develop leadership. Because there are leaders and leadership. Leaders are one person, right? Leadership is the relationship of all that person, or all the leaders together. How good, how bad, we call that leadership. So if you say, these organizations have great leadership, that means all the leaders, the supervisor, the manager, they work together as one very strong team, right? And then if you have this solid trunk, the leadership, then they develop branches with beautiful fruits. Marketing, procurement, finance, selling, all these things are the fruit. It can only happen when there is good root and then good trunk, good leadership. So that's how I see how OPERACY can contribute to the success of a company is by developing the root, and from that root, leadership can develop. And I like to actually add, we were happy that not only in Cambodia but in many different parts of Southeast Asia, we've been requested by many large companies, international companies, to develop their staff, OPERACY and COOPERACY. COOPERACY is our next training, which is transformational leadership. Very popular training. This is our kind of a signature training. One is OPERACY, the other one is how to become super mom, super dad. And so super mom, super dad is how parents practice OPERACY, right, in their life. So I will be conducting OPERACY actually this Saturday and Sunday for the next 2 weekends. Saturday, Sunday. I will be conducting
2 days.
Yeah, live online. Yes.
Okay. So you're doing the conducting the training next week,
Yes.
this week
This
and next
week.
week for the full 2 weekends.
Yes.
How do they enroll in your program?
Well, we have a Facebook, Facebook page. It's called Christopher Lee Facebook page. So you just go there, and then you send a message to us, to our inbox. Said I'm interested, and one of our team will contact them, and then we can start, arranging the registration. But we also, have a phone number. Some people are not very good, like me. I'm not very good at this new digital technology. I like to call people. So if you're not comfortable in getting into our, Facebook page, you can contact through our phone.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Lee, for spending your time talking with us about the training of the OPERACY. And we see that OPERACY is very important subject for people to learn. It's also that they can use it to improve their life, their livelihood, and the way of the working. Especially you mentioned about the social relationship, the emotional relationship, and also the skills.
And also the earth relationship.
The other relationships. Final questions. What is your message to the youth today on the OPERACY training?
In OPERACY, we learn that we are all born to be successful, not to fail. So my message to all young people is don't lose heart, Don't lose heart. You are all born to be successful. All you have to do is know how to do it. The difference between successful and unsuccessful people is successful people know how to do it. Not because they're more intelligent, not because they're richer, it's just because they know how to do it. So learn how to become successful. But don't give up.